Pretty beautiful sunrise right now. Kind of a really subtle light on the towers of the Virgin back there. And this is something I really wouldn't mind shooting. You can see there's some snow on there, but there's supposed to be some rain starting at 4 o'clock today, between about 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. And with how chilly it's been, it may very well be snow at the higher elevations, so might mean some more snow up there, which would be pretty nice. But just enjoying the show here and trying to come up with some ideas on what we want to photograph here in Zion. And although this is a super popular location with snow on it, with good light on it, I think it'd be pretty nice to add to the portfolio. So it's quite the show. Well, it is after sunrise now, and I've been kind of going through some of the areas that I think might have some degree of potential. Either as it is now, but with kind of a nice soft, pre-dawn light, or if we get some snow tonight, which very, very well may be the case. And this is an area I've had my eye on for quite a while. It's over the Court of the Patriarchs. And there's kind of a nice sort of foreground, some rolling hills and some trees and such. And this is an area where the winter cottonwoods look quite nice, and they actually stand out quite nicely against the background. And this is an area I've been trying to photograph for many years now. And I think my approach in years past was to try to capture everything, all the big peaks, all the foreground. And that would involve such a wide angle lens, it just wouldn't really even be possible. The lens that I have on my video camera here is a 20mm lens, which is not far from what my wide angle lens is on my 8x10. So I've been able to kind of scope out the scene a little bit. I found that there's actually a composition that kind of works. The other thing that's nice about this area is that this is an area where I can actually leave my camera overnight and not worry about other people kind of stumbling upon it. So it's a little off the beaten path. So this would actually make it pretty ideal for doing a morning shot. Another thing too is that this is a relatively sheltered area. So in Zion you get a lot of wind in the morning as the air up above the canyon starts to warm up. It kind of creates some turbulence. And at least when I've gone over here in years past, it's been relatively calm, so that's certainly also a good thing. But there's some high clouds kind of moving in now, and I think this is the first little bit of the storm that's supposed to come through a little later this afternoon. But so nice here right now. I mean, compared to the fall where it was so busy and so crowded, now I can just go basically wherever I want to, can drive around. There's still a lot of people here, but it's nowhere near as there was in the fall. But it is, I know I say this a lot, but it is beautiful here. And I'm looking forward to at some point finding some compositions. But one thing I absolutely have to do today, if I stand any chance of taking any photos, is I gotta listen to some Taylor Swift. You know what that means. I love doing that. All right. So as I was leaving that other area, I saw that there was this clearing kind of up on the hillside. It might have a bit of a better view of that snow-covered slope with the dry waterfall and all that nice orange sandstone. So, kind of working my way up to that area right now. See what we can find here. So I got a long lens now that I might be able to use just to isolate that one other area. So I'll show you here. So this is a clearing. You see back there the dry waterfall, sandstone, and the snow there. Still some trees in the way, so I'm gonna have to go in one more clearing to see if I can get up there. It's got a bit more overcast in the past half hour or so since the last video. And you definitely see it, the clouds are getting a little lower. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of rain or, snow at the higher elevations before the 4 o'clock time that they're saying. So now I just gotta go a little further to the next little clearing and see if I can find a nice vantage point to shoot this area. Because this area does not depend on having fresh snowfall. it's in the shadow almost all day long. So snow from even like a week ago is still gonna be there. It's still gonna be good to photograph. We'll see what I can find up here. So I had to go a little further than I was expecting in order to get a clear view of the snow-covered slope with the dry waterfall and sandstone, and I'll spin you around here. And you can see that you know, I don't have any obstruction there with the trees in the foreground, so I can do a long shot. But what also happened is, as I got even closer, the perspective changes a little bit, and the foreground slope that has all the snow on it, it's starting to dominate the scene a little bit too much. Whereas when I was further back, it was a little bit more of a kind of a clean shot where the waterfall was kind of falling between these, you know, hillsides covered in snow. And so even though I found a clearing, I don't think this is going to give me the sort of perspective that I want. And I'm sure it would be possible to find that perspective, but in order to do that, I think I have to climb up one of the steeper hillsides. And I don't know that I'm willing to do that at the moment. But now I think it's time to head back to the truck, get some breakfast, then I want to head over to the east side of the park. Some of the washes I was looking at yesterday were so covered in snow that these giant boulders and all the sort of huge unevenness of the washes as far as it drops down really deep and all is all kind of filled in with snow. So that would certainly not be fun to go into and wasn't particularly photogenic. But there are some areas where the sun has a little bit more of an impact as far as melting the snow. And so I'm wondering if in those areas there might be some areas without snow, but maybe with some water and maybe some ice patterns. There might be some potential for finding some subjects for that. But I think what I'm going to do as far as today is, after spending some time on the east side, seeing what I can find over there, gotta load film, and then also I'm going to see about setting up my camera at the Tower of the Virgins photo, and then taking my camera off the tripod, leaving it all pre-focused so it's ready to go, and then mark where my tripod was. So in the event that it's a very nice sunrise tomorrow morning, I'll be prepared for it, because there might be some fresh snow there. But now it's time to head back to the truck, get some wonderful breakfast, and head over to the east side and see what I can find over there. So I came over here to the east side of the park because I wanted to check on one of the locations I had photographed last fall and just kind of see how it looks now with a little bit of snow. And spin you around here so you can see. You probably recognize this, the log going across there. And I'd taken a picture here with black and white film. And though it's really interesting with the snow, I actually think it was a little bit better in with just, you can see all the rocks and all that texture in the foreground. But it's pretty fun going back and just seeing how things have changed. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about going back to a location again and again. As I spin you around over here, further up this wash over here, I should say further back that wash over there, further back up that direction. There are some other photos I shot as well. So I'd be curious to kind of see what those scenes look like now that it's wintertime. But this is one of the things I enjoy, check up on scenes and see how things change. So after wandering through the washes for a while, I went over to an area where I ran into Alan Brock, Mark Shaw, and Marty Quinn in the fall. And we took a little group photo over there, which is kind of cool. I was just kind of curious about that area among other areas, and you know, with the winter here that's upon us. And saw some footprints through the snow, pretty fresh footprints. It was from a mountain lion. So just a little bit of a reminder that this is wild country here, and I never like being on this side of the park, you know, before sunrise or after sunset. Always kind of feel a little weird walking through some of the washes because you know that's some of the prime time for the mountain lions. And the reason I'm talking a little weird is that there's a Bighorn sheep just in front of my car right now. And if I record this long enough maybe he'll make a little cameo. But he's just staring me down. Now, if I only wasn't loading film right now, I'd be able to get some video of this guy. You'd have to take my word for it. This place is pretty active in the winter, that's for sure. Well, as I went a little further up the road over here on the east side, there's a lot more snow. So I strapped on my gaiters, put on some spikes for traction, and just kind of cruising around the hillsides over here, seeing if I can find some interesting subjects. It's actually a lot easier climbing over here when there's snow as opposed to when it's slick rock, because when it's slick rock, your feet have to be all kinds of weird angles and it's a little tiring on the ankles. One of the things that's kind of cool, well, check that out. I actually wasn't planning on that happening, but nice little snowfall. That's kind of cool. Still going. Good timing on that. But these whole cliffs back here have a pretty cool look to them, and I think that might make for kind of a nice subject if I can find a good foreground. And it's pretty cloudy right now. If you look this way, you'll see that there's a little bit of either rain or snow or something falling, and that's probably the storm that's on its way in. But I think it might be a little difficult finding a subject over here, but it's pretty cool. And it's pretty nice to be able to just wander around anywhere and see what you can find. But pretty soon I'm gonna have to head back down to the main canyon. Main reason is I wanted to get a shot set up for tomorrow morning and then just take the camera with me, but at least get all the movements and stuff set. Other than the cars driving by every now and then, it's pretty quiet. If you look down there, see my truck parked down there. So I didn't come very far, but it's pretty fun over here. So it looks like the rain that was supposed to pass through here really isn't going to pass south of here. So it doesn't look like there's going to be a chance of getting some nice fresh snow on the peaks behind me overnight. But I decided to set up for a morning photo. Now, typically what I do when I'm off in the middle of nowhere is I'll set up the camera, get everything locked in place, cover it up, lock it down, and then it's waiting for me the next morning. But I really can't do that because, as you can see behind me here, we got buildings. We're in a very popular area. It is actually the same view of the webcam. And actually I was on the webcam a little earlier just for fun. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera with me tonight. I'm going to mark where it was and make it so I can easily repeat how it's all set up. Because if you try to set up a camera in the dark, well, it's really hard to do. You can't see your composition, you can't see focus. It's hard to make those sort of decisions. So I took 3 rocks here, placed them under the tripod legs, and took another rock that's kind of acting like a chalk and just put a little mark on each rock. So I'll know exactly where to place each tripod leg. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lens off because the focus is set by the camera itself. So I can take off the lens and be fine. And then I'm not going to fold up the camera. I'm just going to carry it back to the car as it is. And that way, all you got to do is set the tripod up exactly where it was today. Put the camera on the tripod, put the lens on the camera, and then I should be set up for a composition of the webcam image. So I've not tried this technique before, but I'm hoping it'll work, and so we'll see how it goes. Well, I'm wandering along the river now in the main canyon. I've been down in the canyon twice today, and I've been up on the east side twice today. And I've just been wandering around all day long, just looking at things and trying to get ideas of, how to take some photos here. And it really is a little bit of a challenge because what I usually depend on as far as subjects aren't here right now. So it's making me wander around a lot and look, which is a very good thing. So hopefully I'll come up with something. But I have my camera ready for a potential sunrise photo, and it's a scene that's been photographed trillions of times, but there's good reason why. It's because it's a beautiful scene. So maybe tomorrow, if the weather cooperates, I'll be able to come up with some sort of rendition of that, and probably both color and also in black and white. But I'm just gonna keep wandering here a little bit, see if I can find anything interesting, then head on back to camp and grab myself some dinner. Really looking forward to that. It's been a long day. If you love this content and want to help support my journey, you can do so by subscribing to my YouTube channel, telling a friend, or sending a contribution of just $24 a year via PayPal. I depend on the generous support of people like you to produce this ad-free content. Thanks in advance for your support.